Welcome to our topic for today, which is remembering Cebuano pronouns fast. Here is the list of Cebuano personal pronouns, which is a bit overwhelming. It's already in table format, but there are so many sets, and so we have to dissect how we will learn all of these personal pronouns. Here is the short activity which will enable us to see if you have knowledge on the pronouns. So, encircle which is or are the pronouns in the following sentences. Nanilhig akong ate. Katagi ko sa imong makaon. Nadunggan namo iyang hila. Wala ra kaninyo nakapikto ang problema? Pause for a bit and let's try to see the correct answers. Okay, so time to answer our short activity. If you answered in number 1, ako, that's correct. For number 2, it's ko and imo. Number 3, namo and iyang. Number 4 is kaninyo. If we look at the table, you will see that these are certainly pronouns. So, how did we come up with the answers in the activity? Will it be easier to find out? This video is intended for you to see some tips and tricks in order to identify if something is a pronoun. Here is tip number 1 for remembering Cebuano pronouns fast. You will see that the first set, the ako class of the personal pronouns, include ako, ko, kami, kita, ikaw, kamo, siya, sila. And because they are very varied, I want to call this set the V set or varied set. Just remember that the varied set is the first set of the personal pronouns, but you have to familiarize with the set. Tip number 2 in remembering Cebuano pronouns fast is that the second set or the ako class can be called the I set, except for ako, amo, ato, but excluding ikaw. May be called so because almost all the pronouns in this set start with the letter I. Notice there is imo, inyo, iya, and ila. Just take note of some of the exceptions or dimension. The ako, amo, ato, and not ikaw, which should be letter I, but it's not included here. Tip number 3 is easy to remember. The third set, which is the nako class, may be called the N set because these pronouns start with the letter N. So if you notice that there is something like a word that starts with the letter N inside a sentence and it's not in the front or it's not in the back, in the middle, a part of the sentence, it should be a pronoun which is part of the third set. And last but not the least, tip number 4 in remembering Cebuano pronoun fast is there's a set which is a fourth set or kanako class which can be called the K set because the pronouns in this set start with the letter K. If you notice, in the part of the sentence there are words which start with K and it's not at the beginning or the last part of the sentence, then that would be or could be a pronoun. As a summary, in order to remember the Cebuano pronouns fast, here are the tips. Tip number 1 is that the V set or the varied set, if it's not included in the I or the N or the K set, then that would be most probably be the varied set. Tip number 2 is that the I set is the second set of personal pronouns because they start with letter I. Same with the third set, which starts with letter N, and the K set starts with the letter K. Short activity part 2. Circle which is or are the pronouns in the following sentences. Makuhaan ako si Rhea kaniya og health insurance. Kuhaon nila ang tubig dito sa refilling station. Manglaag sila sa inyo. Minom ko milk tea unya. Okay, let's pause for a while, then you can have your answers during this 5-second pause. Are we ready with our answers? For number 1, this is from the N set, nako, and the K set, kaniya. Number 2, N set, nila, and just that 1. Number 3 is there such an S set? Probably this is from the set number 1 or varied set. And O as well is not in the K set but from the varied set. Congratulations everyone, mga Kabisaya section. You are done with the techniques on how to identify such personal pronoun. Just the techniques on identifying, but on how to use them. How will we be able to identify which pronouns to use? So thanks and see you in the next uploads, which will cover tips on how to use personal pronouns and how they function. See you and goodbye.